Hey everybody, this is T Ray from H10 Hanshin Tigers English News, as you can kind of see behind me there. And we are complete. Wow, my English sucks. We finished recording episode 127 just now. It was myself and JD and Gabe. So JD, thanks for sticking around and doing some post talk with us here.
Here we are. Yep, got my ready for summer, as you guys can see. I got my hoppy on here, so
as long as they start letting fans into the stands, yeah, or you're just gonna wear it around the house, right?
No, I could do that, I suppose. Yeah.
True. Yeah, that would really endear you to the family. And Gabe in Toronto, how you doing? It looks like you're at Koshien, but you wish you were there.
Yeah, I'm in my happy place, man. How long do you think it'll take before there's this many fans in the stands anywhere? I mean, it's going to be a solid 2 seasons before we even get a Major League Baseball game here in Toronto. I'm going stir crazy, dude.
Yeah, I can't imagine. As we mentioned in the show, like I was able to get out to a game. So our boy Jimbo, who does the jingles for the show, he happened to score some seats behind home plate, so I got to be down there. Because at the time, even when they were letting fans into the stands, it was only people that were season ticket holders, which eliminated me from getting seats on my own anyways. So now we'll see. I mean, there's nobody in the stands, and as I said in the show, they canceled the game on May the 3rd because of COVID, and that was in Tokyo. But what that meant though was that the guys got a day off, right? They played the weekend at Koshien, and then instead of going to Tokyo on Sunday night, which they would have done, and then played Monday afternoon, or I think it was a night game, I'm not sure. Anyways, instead of that, they got to spend much of their Monday in their homes. And I am fortunate enough to kind of know a couple of the families of these players. And so it was Golden Week here. We didn't have anything to do. And my wife and Jon Edwards' wife had talked online, and they were like, well, maybe we can hang out one of these days. So on Monday, we went over to the Edwards home and hung out with them, and then we just hung out in the park. I know it's state of emergency, but I was masked up the whole time. I kept myself safe. But I got to hang out with Jon Edwards, and I also got to see Jerry Sands, and that was kind of a pleasant surprise since I did interview him back in February, and I didn't get to meet him. I actually got to meet him and Jon face to face. Big guys, let me tell you. They are tall. I guess compared to you guys, they're maybe not so tall. They're still shorter than you, JD, and they're about your height, I think, Gabe. But for me, yeah, I definitely felt little.
I reckon that they probably weigh about twice what I do, though. So I think
that's entirely possible.
Make up for it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, it was just really cool. Like I said, Jerry would not have been there. I think Jon still would have been there because he's on the farm team, and they were that night or that evening. He headed off to Nagoya for their farm games. But yeah, I actually kind of really zeroed in on Jon Edwards. I'm not really sure why. It just kind of happened that way. But all the kids were playing, and I just stood by Jon Edwards and kind of didn't let him go. Talked to him for like a solid 2 hours and picked his brain about all sorts of cool stuff. So it was just a lot of fun. But Gabe, have you ever had any kind of experience like meeting ball players or any pro players?
I had a ships passing in the night moment, basically. I donated my bone marrow to a family member back in 2005 for cancer treatment. And as their way of saying thanks, the Blue Jays actually provided tickets to Doc's box, Doc being Roy Halladay. Unfortunately, there was enough nonsense going on in my day. I think that may have actually been the day of like a wildcat strike at the transit network. I wasn't able to get to the game early enough to meet the man, but I at least got to see a baseball game from his private box. And the Jays had the courtesy to win too. So
nice.
It was like this close. And Halladay's always been my favorite player. It was a shame when he passed away.
Of course.
I'm still looking to go to Cooperstown to see his plaque and, just hold up the Blue Jays logo so it looks like it's on his hat. That would be right.
What? He doesn't have a Blue Jays hat?
He does not have a logo on his cap.
Okay.
That was his family's wish. So he does not represent the Blue Jays or the Phillies.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. JD, how about you? Have you met any players either like here or stateside or anywhere?
Yeah, just very short passings. Fenway Park, I got to just a quick meeting with Tazawa when he was pitching there, got his autograph. And Scott Atchison too, actually, who played for the Tigers as well at some point. Yeah. He was actually really nice. He came up and said hi to my kids and stuff at the time. And aside from that, just a short from a distance, just watching Kyuji Fujikawa, just a school relation there and stuff. But he was he looked like he was just trying to enjoy his time alone, so I didn't go bother him. I feel like I wanted to bug him during family time, but he's a big dude too. It's funny, like on TV it doesn't look as much, but as I walked by him, I was like I didn't know who he was at first, because I just wasn't even thinking about it. And I walked by, I was like, who's this big huge dude just like hanging out here? And I was like, oh, okay, it's Kyuji. But yeah, so but those are the only 3 so far, so hopefully more in the future, but we'll see. Well, Joe Gunkel, you got to hook me up with Gunkel. I want to meet that guy, dude. Yeah, okay, he's like my favorite.
I saw him heading out for a jog the last time I was over on Roko Island, but I didn't actually get to call out his name or anything like that. But I will do my best to make that happen. I feel like it's just a matter of time, because while we were there, we also saw Adam Jones's kids. We didn't actually see the man himself.
Nice.
It's a place where like the kids were just running around and neither of the parents were around, but it didn't really matter. And it kind of took me back to the day when we used to do that, but I don't think that happens anymore in Japan. Anyhow, getting back to the kind of topic. So JD, you were saying like that there's some kind of school relations or whatever. And I can relate to that in a sense. Like one of my friends actually teaches all of Toritani's kids. And so, but at the same time, well, he's not a Tigers fan for one, but also like, you don't want to bug these star players when they're just being dad. Right. And that's the other thing. It's if you saw them at the stadium or near the stadium or in uniform or whatever, like you're more likely to say, can I get your autograph or can we take a picture or, stop and talk to them. But they're kind of on their private time and you want them to feel like people, not just like superstars all, around the clock. And so when I talked to Jon Edwards, I think for the first like 3, 4, 5 minutes, I was kind of on the nervous side. Like I wasn't starstruck, but I was like, what do I talk to this guy about? Like, he's a guy that I've seen on TV. He's a guy that, I wouldn't say I idolize, but certainly like, you know what I mean? Like he's a hero that plays for the Hanshin Tigers. How do I approach him? But then like after a while, the nervousness kind of faded away. And it just made me realize like by the time we were done talking, I was like, he's not just like me, but he's just like me in the sense that, you know what I mean? Like he's got a wife and kids and he's got family stuff going on and he's got a career to think about and a post career to think about. And like, you know what I mean? Like the issues that we all face are all kind of the same. So why do I have to?
They're all real people, it's just, and it's like for them, it's like, they're on TV and stuff like that. But I really doubt that like is something that they think about all the time. It's like they're going to do work and do their best job they can and just living their lives, so you always sort of forget that. But we're all kind of in the same boat together in a lot of ways,
Yeah, I think the vast majority of them would, by and large, prefer to be treated as regular people. And I think that kind of is why I have the general policy of when I meet players, I don't think aside from at the Tigers camp, I got Gomez's autograph, but aside from that, I don't think I've gotten a single player's autograph, even though I've met probably like a dozen of the Tigers or former Tigers already. Because I would rather, if I were in their position, I would want to be talked to as just a regular person and not like given the star treatment or, like I'm going to bow down and worship you kind of treatment, but rather just
or the alternate treatment of dance monkey dance. I'm giving you this baseball. You must sign it for my child. My child's name is eBay.
Yeah, exactly. And so, just having that balance and trying to treat them, I guess, the way that hopefully they want to be treated, or I assume they want to be treated. And so, yeah, it was good to kind of hang out with Jon Edwards a little bit. And he gave me some insight into how he operates as a player, how the team operates a little bit, and all kinds of things like that. So it was really cool. Like we did talk about stuff outside of baseball, but we definitely talked baseball as well. So it's really neat.
I don't know, like, the one other player I'd really like to meet is Fujinami, just because I'd really like to find out where he gets his clothes, because we're the same height and really similar build. Like he's a pretty slim dude too. And it's just like, that's probably the first question I'd ask him, to be honest. Like, where do you get your pants? Because I can't find any over here. So
yeah, but the question then would be, can you afford the pants that he can afford?
Well, there is that too. Well, maybe he'd take pity on me and buy me a couple pairs or something like that.
It's possible. It's possible. I saw QG, actually, speaking of him, posted on Instagram, I think yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, I lost the case for my AirPods, and now I don't know what to do. I guess I left them in Hiroshima when I did the play-by-play." And it's like, dude, just buy 10 more. Like, what do you care about that extra, what, like some million or even less, right? But yeah, it's just kind of interesting, letting the world know about his poor problems as a millionaire.
Well, that's just it. You don't get to stay a millionaire if you sweat the small stuff like that, or if you don't sweat the small stuff.
True.
Somebody right now in Hiroshima is like searching frantically for like an AirPods case to sell again on eBay. Fujikawa Kyuji used AirPods case. Yeah.
Look, that's his earwax. I swear.
Oh, geez. Okay.
We could turn that into some kind of fragrance maybe. But this kind of ties in back with what we were just saying. Like, these guys do want to be treated as regular people, and they do have the same problems as us, even though it may not be like you said, like, okay, well, you sweat the small stuff and that's how you stay a millionaire or whatever, right? Like, I mean, you do make sure that you're investing wisely, or you're not wasting your money or being lavish. Yeah. And I think, like, I heard this as well, like back in the day, about guys like, I mean, not to name names and say guys are cheapskates, but like guys like Randy Messenger, or, you know, like the older crew of Gaijin. I was like, well, you know what I mean? Like, if they go out for a meal, they are still looking at the prices on the menu sometimes, and they're still like, you know what? Oh, that's too expensive. I'm not going to buy that. So they still do kind of maybe have that mindset. And I think, especially for the foreign players, part of that mindset might come from the fact that coming to Japan or playing for the Tigers might be the first time they've actually had that luxury in their lives, right? I mean, they spent the bulk of their careers playing AA, AAA, where the meal stipend is not that great. The accommodations, the travel is not that comfortable. And so I think, you know, like, you get that ingrained in you from a young age, like, okay, well, I've only got this much money to spend, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I got to be careful with my money. This is precious, because I don't know if this, you know, being in the big show is going to be long-term, or if I'm going to be kicked off the team partway through the year. Has that ever happened to the Tigers?
Never.
There's a name on the tip of my tongue. Solano? No, Solarte. That might be it.
There's like a phone book on the tip of my tongue, bro. All of them are in there.
Well, I mean, you also hear all the stories. I mean, all these sports players who get their first big contract, and like 5 years they're bankrupt because they just blow it all on, like, you know, 3 Ferraris and like 2 mansions. Then it's like, oh, well, you know, that's the money it's big, but it's not infinite. So yeah.
So Edwards had some cool ideas of what he wants to do, maybe not with his money, but with his career after. And I won't get into a ton of detail, and we'll kind of keep the show a little bit short, but he was talking about doing things like buying, well, he's got a fair amount of land, but actually buying and breeding bison.
Really?
Which I thought was really cool. And he brought it to my attention that it's very environmental to actually breed bison, or to breed livestock on land, because they keep it fertile, because they're keeping the grass short, because they are also bisons are also very low maintenance. And he said his argument about the whole global warming thing, and I think there is some truth to it, is that it's not so much about the emissions that we are putting out, but rather the fact that we're killing the environment that was there, that was in place 2 centuries ago. There was a lot more forestry, there was a lot more grasslands, there was a lot more of animals grazing freely than now, where we've turned everything into mass production, and you know what I mean, like
and concrete islands that just reflect a lot of sunlight, as opposed to tree covers and foliage and grass and meadows. Valid points.
So it was cool to hear him talk about that, and what I got from Edwards in this, besides the fact that, you know, like, we share the same, I guess, religious beliefs, for lack of a better word, like we share the same faith, and some of his worldview or his political views reflect that. And so we won't kind of go down that road. That was one of the things that I took from our conversation, though. And the other one was that this is a real thinking man, and a guy that really likes to keep himself sharp when it comes to world issues, when it comes to like he seemed like he was really interested in history, and then also agriculture. And there were a couple other things. And he had said, I've got a lot of things that I want to do post-baseball career, and I just don't know. I haven't narrowed it down, but I've got all these things that I want to try. And it was just really cool to talk to him about that, to see, as I kind of said earlier, there's more to these men than baseball. And it's actually refreshing to hear that, more than just for him to say, like, I don't know, I'm just thinking about tonight's game, or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, or like, how do I get the contract for next year? Like, that's not really at the forefront of his mind. he's definitely like a very grounded guy. So that was really cool.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I could see the parallels even with someone like yourself. Like you have a career, that's not baseball related. And then you've got this other passion on the side of it, and like, so maybe like on a day-to-day basis when you're doing your day job, people don't realize that there's this whole other thing, aside from, the day job thing. I mean, the same with me, I have my day job, but that's only a small percentage of my life too. So when you think of it like that, I mean, for these guys, I mean, yeah, it's obviously, being a baseball player is much more, full time than, perhaps the day jobs that we have. But still, I mean, these guys have whole other things going on, in the background too. So yeah, it's really cool. You forget that these guys are real people,
I get it on both sides. Like the people that know me as the English teacher think that's all I do. And then people that know me from H10 are like, so is this your full-time job? I'm like, no. Actually, even John asked me, he's like, so you're a writer, is that right? And I was like, kind of, but I'm an English teacher. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. But that kind of brings me back to Instagram again. We just talked about Kyuji's thing, but like sometimes when players post on Instagram and then the Japanese fans will jump on them and be like, if you've got enough time to do this, you should be out there practicing more. It's like, I hate that. It's like, you don't turn these guys into one-dimensional creatures, because they are definitely more than what you see on the field. You know what I mean? Like they've got interests and they've got a life and so on. So yeah, well, I think we're going to wrap things up here. It was fun talking to you guys as always, and hopefully we will be back with more of these post shows if you're enjoying these. We're also thinking about possibly doing live recordings of the podcast so that people can join in and listen live, either on Clubhouse or maybe in Twitter Spaces or something. We're not really sure exactly what yet, but it's been fun talking to you guys. Have a good fortnight. Part of that is going to be spent watching Tigers, I'm assuming, but just like we talked about on today's show, let's do some stuff away from baseball as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll get plenty of Tigers time in for sure. But the weather right now, you can't really see it for here. The weather is really nice here. It's full on springtime, favorite time of the year. Got to get the outdoor activities in before the summer hits, because it's brutal then. So yeah, I'll be trying to find that balance, I think.
Definitely.
I'm eagerly looking forward to it stop being March weather here in Toronto. That's all I'll say. Has it ever not been March?
I don't know, but it'll come, I'm sure. Yeah. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, have a great one. We will catch you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Later, everybody.